way out of cell reception. And even though it's not that far, I'm in a deep valley and there's no cell reception. So I'm taking you up the mountain on the south facing slope where there's usually cell reception. And I just wanted to take a break from my work day to into the wilderness about the boundary between wilderness and civilization. Urban development and the natural world. How we coexist with nature as we reach deeper and deeper into her forests and urban planning and the ecosystem is a big issue for the forest and the animals. One of the most fundamentally destructive parts about urban development is the destruction of the groundwater, most notably the less visible seasonal waterways and marshlands, the rivulets, which look like a trickle to us, but represent a really important function in the forest of delivering water to the plants and to the shrubs and the smaller of the species that live in the topsoil, because these hold moisture in the surface of the forest floor. The surface of the forest floor is where our evaporation takes place. If you've ever been in a forest beside a clear cut, you'll know that inside the forest canopy it's about 70 degrees on a hot day, but when you step out into the clear cut, it could be like 115 degrees easily if you're on a south-facing slope of the mountain. So in the ever-present thrust for our town councils to bring in the almighty cash dollars, the development, quote-unquote, destruction of ecosystem, wetlands, seasonal waterways, and those little streams that don't really seem to be doing anything. The destruction of those really significantly influences temperature. Now, I'm not here to criticize the need for human habitation. That's not my goal. My goal is to show you, when I remix this video, how much life there is around tiny little streams. How Sorry, I think I have my connection dropped there for a minute. I'm back. So again, I'm not here to be political. I don't want to really upset anybody. I do live in a place where they love to just try to develop things, and I see a lot of cut blocks coming up that are actually in our watershed forest And that is kind of a bummer because we need water, and everybody's concerned about the thing that is called ocean rise on a timeline to 2030. Ocean rise in our area is supposed to go up a half a meter to a meter in the next 5 years, which will put a significant amount of water in downtown Seashell. I'm above the water right now, a couple hundred feet up the south side of the tetrahedron, and I guess I'm in what you would call the foothills because I'm only a couple hundred feet above sea level. It's my backyard, and so this is a big issue for our town council. They want to allow logging, which selective logging would be better, but we haven't even figured that out. If you look at the map, satellite imagery of the Sunshine Coast, you'll see it's like a checkerboard of clear cuts, and I guarantee you that it still looks like a forest and functions like a forest, but an old growth forest is hard to find here, and the animals do enjoy the second growth extensively, and they do that primarily with the access to the rivulets, and that is the critical part of urban planning, which in the quest for the almighty dollar, it really seems like people are forgetting about the animals, which is my concern. And that's mostly because, I realized, excuse me a sec. How many animals there are just a few feet in from the roadways here. If you look at my page, it has I'm in the forest on the southern shore slope of the tetrahedron. Okay, as it comes down to the ocean, I'm about 200 feet elevation. So, right, where was I? Oh no. Okay. Right. If you look at my March 2021 capture on the Sunshine Coast Trail Cam page here on YouTube, it shows where I put a camera placement 10 feet in from the forest line, where the road is just 10 feet in from the road. I had this feeling that there had been a lot of creatures walking in that area. I could see the well-worn path, and I thought that it was unlikely that it was a human pathway. And also, the logs looked rubbed smooth by little padded feet. So I put a camera placement in there, and I saw there, in a few days' time, bobcat, bear, elk, coyote, ravens, and eagles, of course. And this was all because of the proximity to a couple of creeks, and the animals really need water like us. So I lived off grid outside of Tofino for 10 years, back in the days before trail cams. And, I saw hundreds of bears and lots of cougars, even in my driveway. As I do here, cougars in the driveway. But until there were trail cams, I did not know how prolific the animal kingdom was so close to urban development. And so, that being a primary goal and of interest, I started this channel so that I could see what was going on in the forest, because it's certainly very interesting. And as you look at the channel, you'll see how many animals are really here so close to the urban areas. And I know that most people's day revolves around the road. We have one road here, and it doesn't seem like real life compared to out here in this second growth forest. Right now, you don't see any animals. You're not gonna see what's really here or what comes through here. But I guarantee you, there are some really prolific wildlife populations that live here besides chipmunks. So you can see that there are pathways through here that are guaranteed not made by humans. And even this far down on the mountain, I have elk in my backyard, and of course bears, if there are any left alive. The conservation officer service here tends to like to get rid of bears. I got some interesting mushrooms here. Let's see what that is. Oh, that is interesting. Okay. Ooh, that looks like a death cap. Look at that. Ooh, Agaricus. Yeah, it's okay to touch it, but I'm not going to eat that. Here, let's look over here. Yeah, death caps. Look. That's the dark side of the Amanita. I like Amanitas, but this, you can tell by the bulbous bottom, and it's white. It looks like an Amanita, but it's white. That's a don't eat it. Definitely don't eat it. That one will put you in the hospital, but it sure looks cool. Again, just like an Amanita, but white. And here is a colony, a small colony growing. Very interesting. Very cool. Very sturdy mushroom with that big bulbous bottom that says no, don't eat that. Okay, let's see what else we got here. Mushrooms. Yeah, so that was the goal, was to really enjoy learning about the animal population. And then in our area here, there is a 1,000 acre gravel pit. Now, 1,000 acre gravel pit, it looks, you can look at it on the satellite map, it looks really shite. It looks like a place where nothing would want to live or hang out, but really what happens in the gravel pit is quite unique. Not that I want to go in there, and it's off limits for travel. Look at this. Whoa. This crazy tree has some fungus, this hemlock. Yeah, so the gravel pit, 1,000 acres, that's a lot of acres. The elk come down and hang out in the gravel pit. You can look at that. My most recent uploads are going to be some elk from photos from Tom Johnson. And that's one of the herds. There's a bunch of herds. We have a lot of elk here. And the gravel pit is on band land, so you can't hunt it. You have to be native, and it's bow hunting only in most of the other areas here. So I don't feel like it is dangerous to let people know where the elk are, because yeah, they're pretty, you have to be on it to be able to bow hunt an elk. They are very powerful and move easily through this area. So anyway, the gravel pit, the elk go in there to hang out. And they can see a long ways. They have eyes on the side of their head. And because they have eyes on the side of their head, they're scanning the periphery for predators. So they love to go to the gravel pit and just luxuriate. They can see anything approaching, and so that makes it an interesting photo shoot. There's a couple wallows around where they can go and lie in the mud, and a couple little surface streams there. The gravel pit itself is between 3 streams, and one of them being the Chapman River Valley, which is quite extensive. Again, when I remix this video, I'll be posting a terrain map image of it, but you look at it and it goes right down the mountain, right up the mountain, right up behind Squamish. It starts right up there at the top. It's a powerful river valley. And then on the west side of it, there's Ergens Creek and Burnett Creek and Burnett Falls, and those are more easily accessible, and they're between those 2 creeks lie a cedar swamp and seasonal marsh. So the area is really home to a lot of animals, and some of those animals are scavengers. There is also the dump, making this a trifecta of interest for the animal population. We have 3 streams, we have the gravel pit, and the dump. So the dump calls in small foraging rodents. Lynx come after the rodents. When the rabbit population up in the top of the mountain gets decimated, they'll come down and eat rodents. And then the bears like to come and roam the dump looking for dump snacks, and it's sad and stuff, and it's not a ideal diet, but it is a place where the animals and the humans meet at the boundary between wilderness and civilization, and we get to observe how urban development impacts their lifestyles. And so you'll see in a lot of my videos, I have a lot of night shots there, a lot of night videos where the animals are foraging at night. It's known that ungulates will alter their grazing patterns to not interact with humans and graze in the night. You'll see mostly elk, but some deer in my videos grazing at night. And got a little oyster mushroom past prime, and of course all the predators roaming at night. But the most recent increasing incidence of strange things in the area is since the grizzly bear hunt in 2017 was stopped, and the trophy hunters would always go after the biggest bear. That's what they're after, the big boar. So this reduced the population and conflict amongst the grizzly bear population. And is there conflict amongst grizzly bears? Absolutely. Do they fight amongst themselves? 100% they do. Bigfoot, yep. Bigfoot is totally around the corner somewhere here. But I'm not worried about that. And I did have a grizzly bear in the backyard here last year. And so I didn't go into the forest that much because he was a repeat customer. Um, so yeah, don't worry about the Sasquatch. Just the burgeoning grizzly bear population, and I know that some of the diehard conservationists will say like, "Oh, just let them grow and all this," but the thing about the function of the grizzly bear hunt, which anybody who really knows about management will tell you, is that the old male bears, also known as boars, they get pretty persnickety and they eat the babies, they eat the cubs. Yep, yeah, they do, and then they fight off the younger bears, and then that forces the younger bears down into civilization, looking for snacks, smelling the dump. A grizzly bear can smell like 35 miles. It's a long ways to smell. So it's only like 16 miles from my backyard to the bottom of the mountain pass, which goes up to Squamish. So 35 miles puts you way the heck on your way to Squamish from here. So yeah, you're a young bear, you're getting chased out of grizzly bear country by the old cranky bear who wants to kill you, and you get down the mountain, you're following the scent trail from some ungulates or even other bears who have come down before you, and then you smell the dump. And then you get closer to the dump, and hi, Lindsay. And then you smell the dump, and then you get a little closer, and then you smell the restaurants, and you're a black bear or a grizzly bear, and then you're in people's backyards, and then the conservation officer's got to kill you. So this is, again, my talk about how human civilization affects wildlife, and I'm not being overreactive. The conservation office kills a lot of bear here. They kill a lot of bear because people freak out and they'll say, "Oh, there's a bear in my backyard," and I can't tell you how many places I've had bears before I even know you're supposed to call somebody and complain. Bears in my kitchen, bear in my cabin, bear under my deck. I just thought it was cool. But apparently, because they usually just run away, black bears, right? Just go away. I encountered a couple grizzly bear here on the Sunshine Coast, which when I left Tofino, I didn't know that there were grizzly bear here on the Sunshine Coast. In fact, I was young, I didn't know much. Oh, I've been here for a long time now, and I'm aware of the animal population in a different way than I was before because of the trail cams. So that, and just being in the forest a lot, I think I've definitely done like 15,000 hours of forest time in the last decade at least. Like that's just roundabout. It's a nice place to be. I always have some dog and a weapon or something with me when I'm far from home. Right now I'm in my backyard, so the dogs are running around. Otherwise I'd leash them, but this is their area to patrol. And so here's the view from the edge of civilization. And this is the forest. That's my backyard. And I'm gonna whistle for the dog. And we sure have a lot of trees come down here recently. It's like it's weird. Anyway. One day I was thinking, oh, I need to make a fence along my backyard so that, people wouldn't come walking into the backyard, and then it seemed like in the next couple of months all these trees fell, and there's no way you could get into my backyard now unless you knew exactly where you're going. So that was kind of convenient, so I don't need to build a fence. I got the forest itself building fences for me, so this area coming up here is directly behind my yard, and I was really hoping to find more mushrooms here that weren't deadly. There's lots of places here on the Sunshine Coast that are just cranking out mushrooms right now. And this is a pretty dry spot. We're south-facing, so I have to get pretty into the forest, the old forest, to find mushrooms here. But I went into the oldest part of this forest earlier from another direction, and I found nothing. So strange. And it may just be that something's eating them. Like, not humans, but animals actually eat mushrooms. We're in Roberts Creek, it's just humans. Humans pick all the mushrooms there. It's just a lot of really aggressive mushroom pickers. But yeah, this is a path. But look, holy crap, eh? This path, this is new. Wow, it just doesn't stop here. I mean, it's like the trees just really fall across the path, which means I don't have to build a fence, so that's magnifico. Appreciate that. Forest, you're doing a great job of fencing yourself. Yep, so I'm just writing a research paper. I needed to take myself and the dogs for a walk, so I'm going to thank you all for coming with, and then check back on the channel, and I'm going to inset photos from this actual neighborhood of animals that are here, right here, in this actual spot, from my trail cameras. And that's in a playlist on the site right now called What's Happening Today on Smileth Way, and Smileth Way means Sasquatch Way, by the way. So it'll say Smilidth or something. Smileth is the seashell, the Coast Salish word for Sasquatch. They named my backyard Sasquatch Hills. So yeah, this is a native bandland. This is the heritage forest that exists behind the Seashell Longhouse. So this has been a site of constant native inhabitation for thousands of years, and my backyard is a midden. There are, hi Tegan, the backyard is filled with super old shells from feasts from long ago. Probably found some burial mounds in here, and I'm sure that it would all be more intact. But a fire came through this whole area of the coast in the 1800s, which is really cool because you can dig down and find a lot of charcoal for the garden, which comes in handy. There's so many crazy tree breaks here. I can't, what the hell's been going on here? Like, oh boy, I've been here for 6 years, and the last year has been all these wacky tree breaks. I have to find a tree here, a couple trees to put a bathhouse and a owl house in, and they gotta be trees that aren't gonna fall over. So this hemlock, that's already rotting out. It's gonna fall over. So I'm gonna have to see, like over there, you can't, if you put stuff on trees that are dead, then you have to put it up again. But yeah, so I'm gonna have to find the right tree. I've got a bat house and an owl house to put up. Apparently they want to be exposed to the sun, so maybe this looks like a pretty cool tree. Look at that. Maybe I'll put it up there. I gotta get a tree climber to come and put them up. They want to be in the sun. They want to be warm. And we got picky bats here. That's a cool tree, hey? I love it when they split like that. Love being in the forest. You know, the mycelium, the mushroom network from here travels all the way down the continent. That's right. That's an eagle you're hearing. So anytime you're on the earth, you're connecting to the continent. Some human has driven up this side road and is sitting there. My dogs have locked in on it like, intruder. Don't worry. Don't worry. Just leave them alone. Leave it. Hey, Stella. Come here. Come on. Good girl. Come on. Come on. Oh, it's a kid playing on the gravel. No, leave it. Don't eat the children. She just wants to rumble. Oh. No. Okay, heading back to the homestead. Perfect timing. A little rain cloud is coming through. And I guess we're just at the beginning of mushroom season, because even down at this place in this heavily cedar forest last year, I saw a lot of boletes and a lot more turkey tail, which is what I'm looking for. Haven't found any pines here at this place yet, but the other part of the mountain, just closer to Roberts Creek, there's some pretty old, swampy, rotten forests there that have a lot of mushrooms. So we'll go for a walk there tomorrow, and I'll probably have proper cell reception there. It's just, the really amazing places are these valleys that are just above this ridge, but you can't stream from them. It just drops off. And so here we are, back home. There's my Sasquatch fence. I just put a fence up made of branches to let the animals know that this is my spot. Pathway of least resistance. We all take it. But if you're smart, you just walk around. So this is my path home. These are actually some burial mounds right here. Under this salal brush, it's under these young dying alder. It's all mounds and mounds of rock, all piled up. Just rocks and so many rocks. It's like the opposite of a garden, you know? Place you don't want people to go. Because it's time to make lunch and go back to writing. And thank you again for coming and hanging out with us in the forest. And I hope everybody has a wonderful fall afternoon, and that you get out and get yourself some nature. And I'll just leave you with this dancing lady.